Okay, what we're gonna do is mark out your pieces for the string game. Now, we should already have our 6-inch length, okay? Which is that right there. Now what we have to do is mark where each of our holes goes and the rounded edges. So the first thing that we're gonna do is we need to find the middle of your piece, because as you can see, those holes look like they're pretty close to the center. Notice it doesn't give us a dimension, but if you look and use common sense, it's in the middle of your workpiece. So that's what we're gonna go with. First measurement is to get right down the middle of our piece. I'm gonna show you a couple ways that we can do that. One way, we've got 3/4 of an inch, and half of 3/4 is 3/8 of an inch. So there's 1, 2, and there's 3/8 right there. Make sure your ruler is lined up correctly. Make that mark. And then we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. 1, 2, 3/8, and the ruler's off a little. And right there's our other one. Okay, so there's our 2 marks. Next, what we would do is take your ruler as a straight edge now. We're gonna line up those 2 marks that we just made. And draw, if I can hold it still, draw a complete line right down the middle along that edge. You don't have to push too hard. It's actually better if you don't, so you don't have to sand so much later on. The other option, this is something that I've learned over the years to make things a little bit easier and quicker. So if I mark one side at my 3/8, okay, so I've got my mark. What I'm gonna do, put my pencil on that mark, and I'm gonna use my finger as a guide, and we're gonna run it the full length. You notice at the end it kind of tailed off. Not a big deal, because we're gonna actually start our mark in a little ways anyway. Okay, we have our center mark. Now we need to mark our holes, and notice it gives us a 1/2 inch to the center of one of the outside holes. Doesn't tell us our 1/2 inch over here, but if we use common sense again, you will kind of guess that those are the same, and they should both be a 1/2 inch, and that's the reason they only give you one. That way it doesn't clutter up the drawing, and it makes it a little bit easier. So you can do this 2 ways. There's a 1/2 inch for that one, and it should be 6 inches or pretty dang close to it, and you can mark it at 5.5, or if you want to just make sure, make it a little easier, and mark that, flip the ruler around and go from 0. All right. Next, we have that middle hole. The middle hole is what it is. It's in the middle. It doesn't give us a dimension, but again, we can be smart enough and figure it out, kind of come to conclusions that that hole should be in the middle. And if our piece is 6 inches, if you cut it to 6 inches like you were supposed to, it should be right at 3. Now, where each one of these lines makes a plus sign is where you're going to drill your holes, okay? Now, once we're done doing that, we're going to start drilling our holes, but your piece should look just like my piece does right here. There's an even distance from here to here as there is here to here, and that should be right in the middle. Double check all of your measurements once you get them all done, just to be on the safe side. Otherwise, it looks kind of funky when it's all done.